Singapore just increased their tax rate to 24% for their top bracket. This just came out for 2022. And also their rental prices are going through the roof. In fact, you don't even have time to go visit the rental unit or you'll be taken. This just came out in Bloomberg. If you're thinking about going to Southeast Asia, I would definitely avoid Singapore moving there. The taxes are going up, rents are going through the roof. It's probably the most expensive place in the world right now to rent. And this is just one place. I was there, I've been there so many times, and Singapore is a nice place. Just in St. Kitts, for instance, you can get a one-bedroom apartment for $500 US. I'm going to just give you an idea of how the rents are in Singapore, and they've got an income tax. St. Kitts doesn't even have an income tax. It went on to say here that Singapore's surging rents shock expats and encourage scammers. Also, folks, you need, no matter where you go, always watch the scammer. A lot of these scammers, they won't try to show their face and they encourage you to send a deposit and then they just disappear. But it's getting really bad for this in Singapore. The city-state's rental market is so hot that people are snapping up apartments without even visiting them. Now, this article came out June the 27th, and it was talking about here when Canadian expat Michelle went to renew the lease on her 3-story house in Singapore in May. Her landlord wanted to raise the rent by almost 40%. Also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you'll get new videos automatically as they come out. We've got over 700 videos right now. And number 2 is I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. Number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. All right, now Michelle tried to negotiate, but the owner wouldn't budge on the 10,000 Sing dollar, or which is $7,200 US a month asking price. She's moving her family into a 3-bedroom apartment next month. She was talking about here. Now, she said that I took what I could get, and she didn't want, when asked not to use her full name on concern it may impact her business in the city-state. By the way, this is another thing I've told you in the past too, folks. Singapore doesn't have freedom of speech, okay? So you need to be careful when you go there. It's not a totally free enterprise place. You have to be careful what you say. So just letting you know that front. And that's the way she felt here. Now, there's a lot of greed at the moment she was talking about, and the rents are skyrocketing in Singapore, particularly in the prime accommodation favored by expat residents. Is surging demand from locals and newer arrivals collides with pandemic-induced delays in supply. Now, rental prices for the private properties leased by expats are rising on average by 20 to 40%, according to 10 real estate agents interviewed by Bloomberg. Through those, some landlords are even asking for double the previous rent. The island's expats commands now higher than average wages, and it will be far from the worst hit as far as cost of living jumps. But the sharp increases make the city less competitive compared with other financial and business hubs in alluring talent to the city. Now, Singapore will be the pricing itself out of being a place where expats can afford to live. It's already expensive, but this will be the tipping point for a lot of people, said Juliet Stanard. She's director and owner of City Property Management. No one, she went on to state, can afford a 50% rent increase. This is just not sustainable. But anyway, the man who helped build Singapore's housing boom is really getting worried about this. Ulysses Del Orto said his landlord wanted to double the rent when he tried to renew the lease on his 1-bedroom apartment in central Singapore this month. Now, Del Orto, the Asia Pacific head of Chainalysis Inc., a blockchain analysis company, said he's trying to negotiate. In January, the asking price to rent a bungalow in a luxury residential area in Sentosa Island shot up about 11,000 Sing dollars in a day. I mean, this is just incredible. Starting at 26,000 Sing dollars a month, and then they closed at 37,000 Sing dollars, according to Navin Bafna, an agent at Singapore-based Propnex Realty. This is definitely one place. I mean, this looks like it's a definitely bubble going on there. People are snapping up rental properties without even visiting them, basing their decisions solely on viewing videos, according to several agents. A French couple signed a lease on an apartment in April after seeing just 4 photos, according to Cheryl Wong, an agent at Singapore-based Vinci Realty. Now, Baptist said one of his clients refused to believe him, and when he was placed on 19th on a waiting list to see a house on the East Coast area, not far from Changi Airport. It's not that we're, giving them the wrong picture. Baptist said that we ourselves are amazed as anyone. He won't say that in my 11 years as an agent, I've never heard of number 19 on a waiting list, he said. Now, the red hot market is giving rise to rental scams where people posing as agents use fake online listings to lure deposits from unsuspecting homeowners. Now, or home hunters. Now, this is the key, folks. This is when the scamming occurs, is when people are in a rush. They don't have time to do things. They think that if they wait 2 minutes, it will be gone. And this is when the scammers really start stepping in. So if you're thinking about going there, you're going to have to be really careful with scammers. Now, at least 547 people fall prey to the schemes this year through May, Singapore police said, with losses amounting to 1.6 million Sing dollars. This is just in deposits. This is what they try to steal. And sometimes they'll try to get the first and last month's rent and then get some sort of utility deposit. And then, they take off and leave. Landlords are even sending offers after tenants pay security deposits because they want higher prices, according to PropNext agent Anthea Yuo. Now, Singapore isn't unique to seeing rising rents. They're also surging in London and Dubai. In New York's Manhattan, median asking prices jumped 36.9% in the first quarter from a year earlier, according to property portal StreetEasy. Now, but the Southeast Asian city-state had one of the biggest increases in the Asian Pacific region in the fourth quarter of last year. The most recent data available, according to the real estate firm Frank Knight. Now, it's in sharp contrast with the old rival Hong Kong, where rents are dropping amid an exodus of expats and locals. Residential rents fell in May to the lowest since March of last year, according to a rental index compiled by Hong Kong real estate agent Centilene Property Agency. Now, Singapore has several reasons for the surge. One is that locals who are often working from home some of the time are moving into properties typically rented by expats as they seek bigger living spaces and as they wait for construction to be completed on new homes, said Wang Xing Yang, head of research at real estate services firm Cushman and Wakefield in Singapore. Now, there's also strong demand from foreigners arriving in the city-state, which reopened its borders to fully vaccinated travelers in April. So if you're not vaccinated, you just forget Singapore to begin with. Now, part of that is people are relocating from Hong Kong, although it's hard to quantify how much. Some of the agents we're talking about. Now, as supply continues to tighten due to construction delays caused by the pandemic, now, this year, about 7,000 to 8,000 new private apartments will be launched, according to two real estate analysis estimates. That lower than the average 10,750 new units started annually between 2012 and 2021. Also, folks, unless you're a Singapore citizen, you will not be able to buy landed properties. That's another thing. I'm talking about where you own the lot. You have to be Singaporean to do that, and those prices are incredibly expensive. They're very scarce in the city. But where there's no stock, it becomes a cowboy town. PropNext Yuo said people outbid the asking price, she said. Now, in one instance, a 4-bedroom unit in Ardmore Park within walking distance of the glitzy Orchard Road shopping belt received 60 inquiries within 24 hours, according to City Props Stannard. Now, Cushman and Wakefield Wong says that the situation is unlikely to ease until next year, when construction projects that were delayed are due to be completed. The rising rents are part of the list of concerns for Singapore's expats, which also include difficulties finding places for their kids in international schools and rising prices for tuition due to inflation. Now, meanwhile, expat packages are getting smaller, and the government has tightened its criteria for worker visas as it seeks to ensure citizens get more high-paying jobs. The number of expat white-collar workers fell to the lowest in more than a decade last year, according to the Ministry of Manpower, partly as a result of travel restrictions from the pandemic. Now, soaring lease rates have prompted some renters to call for the government to introduce controls. The U.S., Canada, Germany, and Spain have jurisdictions with some form of rules on rental increases. In countries like Germany, there's regulation on rent increases, said Chainalysis Del Orto, an Italian who's been in Singapore for almost 2 years. In Singapore's case, it's not really regulated and makes it really challenging. In other words, a lot of these countries now are putting these rent ceilings. Singapore does not have that, and when you got just a huge demand, it's just making these prices go through the roof. I've always been against putting ceilings on prices anyway, on properties. If you can't afford it, then just move to another country. Singapore abolished rent controls in 2001 after government housing programs had enabled most Singaporeans to own their own homes. The Ministry of National Development said, now, Singapore citizens form a small minority of the residential rental market, and there are no compelling grounds to reintroduce rental controls that could result in the distortion of market forces, the ministry said in a written response to questions. Now, about 90% of Singapore citizens own their own homes, and the government provides subsidies to many low-income families that can't afford to buy Now, still more than a third of Singapore's 5.45 million population are expats, and about 650,000 of those are permanent residents or hold white-collar visas. Now, with most leases in Singapore coming up for renewal every 2 years, the prospect of big rents hiking is looming for thousands of other foreign residents over the next few months. Now, Breton Lee Baker, who's lived in Singapore for 9 years now, had already decided not to renew the lease on her 4-story residence in the upscale boutique Tamar area, given the uncertain economic outlook. He wanted something cheaper, he said. That was even before he heard landlords, listen to this, 110% increase in rent. This is unprecedented in my years of living here, Baker said, a landlord's dream. As I mentioned to you folks, this is a place I would stay away from. There's so many good places to go. There's an income tax increase here. It's going up to 24%. Rent's going way up. You might want to look at St. Kitts. 1-bedroom apartments as low as $500 US in nice areas. I'm talking about in the resort areas, and zero income tax. You can't get any better than that. No income tax, no capital gains tax, no estate tax, no inheritance tax. Property tax is almost zero. If you want to know more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and ask for some help. And I would like to hear from